morning, everybody. Michelle here with Creative Operation and Country Craft Creations, and we're going to be doing the tutorial for my snowman, my explosion board snowman. We are using a bunch of stuff. This is a design team project from Country Craft Creations. I'm going to go through real quick what I'm going to be using, and then we're going to head on into the tutorial. So I am using the explosion board by We Are Memory Keepers. This is available at Country Craft Creations, and it is an amazing board. I love this thing. If you've been following my channel, I've used this quite a bit. I've come up with a really awesome tutorial for you today that is not only a decor piece, but it's also a gift box and an album, kind of all in one, and I think you're really going to like it. So we're going to be using the explosion board today. And then I'm also using this awesome paper collection by Echo Park, and this is again available at Country Craft Creations, and it's called Winter, and it's really a beautiful paper collection, real rustic, lots of blues in it, and it's all just winter themed. So it's not really Christmas themed, but it is winter themed, so it's really a cute paper collection. We're going to use this. I'm also, in my design team kit, I got this awesome pack of embellishments by 28 Lilac Lane, and this is again available at Country Craft Creations. All this stuff is, and it includes all kinds of stuff. You have shaker elements in here with little seed beads. You have flat back pearls in 2 different colors, lots of different sizes of buttons, some sequins. There's some charms in here. There's some silver cord. Lots of different embellishments in here. I'm going to be using some of those for this. I'm going to be using more of them for an album that I'm going to be making with this collection after the snowman. So go ahead and pick that up. I thought this was a really great collection, and I thought that the colors matched this paper perfect. So we're going to be using that. I'm also using lace that I did order from Country Craft Creations. I'm going to be using this particular one out of this package, but there's another one that's missing that I already used up. Lots of different laces in off-white and white, and I bought this, and it is amazing. So this was available, and then I'm also going to be using a few of, the ephemera die cuts from Echo Park that I got to match this collection. And I think that's about it. Now I did pick out a few of the things that we are going to use, and it is a snowman. Now you don't see any orange things in here, but I did have a flat back orange pearl for the nose that we're going to be utilizing, and then I'll talk about these. All of these, the rest of these except for the orange, came out of this embellishment kit. So I would really encourage you to get that, because it's chock full of all kinds of things that you can do. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me get some stuff out of the way. We just wanted to show you what we were going to be using. And again, this paper collection is really super cute. I did do a walkthrough with this, and I'll put a link below if you want to see all of the walkthrough stuff. I won't go through it again today, but we will go straight to the tutorial. Now this is again using the explosion board, and this is a snowman project, so this thing is going to be really fun. Now all of the pieces basically are done the same, so I'm going to do one with you on the video, and then I will talk you through the rest of them. Now I did do a very good tutorial on how to use this board and what it does, and I will put that link below as well, so that if you're not familiar with this explosion board, you can go back and look at that. I've done multiple different things with this, including things that you wouldn't think that you could use this board for. So I've used it quite a bit. I just love this board, and I have some more ideas now. Because of this project, I discovered something else. So we're going to we're going to have more tutorials coming. So the snowman project, you're going to need some white cardstock, and we're going to take the first one. The first one is a 12 by 12 piece, and this is going to be the base of our snowman. Now all of the boxes are scored exactly the same way. We're just going to use different lines for them depending on what size we're making, okay? But they're all going to be scored the same way. So that's why I'm going to do just one on camera, and then I'll talk you through the other ones as I show them to you. So the first one is a 12 by 12 piece of paper. And if you look at the side on the box chart here, the 12 by 12 corresponds with the XXL or extra, extra large box. So we're going to put this in here and we're going to score on the extra, extra large line on all 4 sides. And this board does come with a bone folder, but I actually prefer this one. For this, it's a little bit sharper. So I like it better, but you know, however it's more comfortable for you. So you score on all 4 sides on the XXL, and then you'll notice on the board there's a diagonal, and you're just going to then go through and do a diagonal score just to where the score lines meet. Okay, so just in this upper square. So we'll do this, and this is going to be the bottom of our box. Okay, and again, this is all done the same. Now all the boxes are scored just alike, so I think if I just show you one for this tutorial, it'll be okay. So we'll put our scoreboard aside. I'm going to grab my mat, which I had out and then I buried again. And what we're going to do is we're just going to fold on the score lines. Now when you fold, just make sure that it's nice and even and straight. Okay, and then fold and burnish on all 4 of your sides. And I'm just making sure that everything is nice and straight. And this is a scratch piece of paper because I'm not using this one for the tutorial, and you'll see why in a minute. But this is the demo on how to do the boxes. I did use Artisan cardstock in white, in Pearl Sheen White, which is an Artisan cardstock, and then I also used black for this project. Okay, so all 4 of those are scored. Okay, so then what you want to do is score your corners. Now, just fold this over and then fold that diagonal score back. And then when you do that, before you burnish down really well, just make sure that the sides are lined up really nice. And then go in with your bone folder and then just fold that down. So you'll end up with something like that, okay? And you will do that with all 4 sides, okay? Making sure that everything's lined up really nice, just in case I goofed a little on my scoring. So then just fold that back. Okay, one more. And then after we're done with this, there's one more thing that we are going to do with the corners, and then our boxes for the snowman will be complete. Okay, so we have all of our things. So if we left it, which we could totally leave it like this, these would fold up into the box like so. But I want to make it a little bit easier and get some of this out of the way. So what I'm going to do is grab my straight edge and my craft knife, and we're going to just cut the top corners of this off so that it makes kind of an octagon shape. So I'm going to put my ruler here, match up my score lines, and I'm just going to take off that triangle there, okay, on all 4 sides. And again, for the snowman body, we are going to do the same thing for all of the different sizes that we're going to make. Okay, so they're all basically scored and cut the same way. The hat, however, is, ooh, I cut that way too. I totally did. Well, it's a good thing this one's the demo. Okay, so the snowman hat, the top hat is done differently. So don't do this with the black piece for the hat, okay? Just for the white pieces for the snowman body. Okay, so then this way, when you fold it up, the corners don't like hit each other, and it's a little easier to fold it up, and it still contains the sides of your explosion box. Okay, so this is the extra large size. We did it at 12 by 12. So let me grab that piece here and I'll show you what we have And we'll go. So this is my Artisan cardstock in white. This is the 12 by 12. This is the extra large box. Okay, so we had a 12 by 12 piece of paper, just like I showed you, and we scored it on the XXL line on our scoreboard. Now for the pattern paper to cover this, the squares need to be 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. Now, one thing I need to let you know, before you glue those down, just kind of go ahead and make sure that everything fits properly, because if you get your scores off just a little bit, or when you're folding and burnishing, you may need to take a sliver off, like I'm talking like a 1/16 of an inch or something, to make it fit nice and have a nice little border of white around it. So just be aware that when you do your squares, you may need to do that. So just dry fit them first before you glue them down. Now the triangles, and I'm talking about the triangles that are going to fit inside. Now I'm not going to cover the triangles on the outside because there's no need. They're going to fold up in and nobody's going to see them. But on the inside, I'm going to go ahead and cover those. So for those, you'll need to cut squares that are 2 5/8 by 2 5/8, and then just cut them down the diagonal. Okay. And then we'll talk about the lid in just a second. Okay. So here's our inside, and I can see that I missed this score. So I'm going to fold that and burnish that really super quick. All right, XXL box. This is the bottom half of our Mr. Snowman. Okay, and just making sure, just re-burnish those, make them fold nice and easy. That does help with the folding, that's for sure, when we're putting our box together and putting our lid on. Okay, so this is the inside. Here's the outside. Let's start with the outside. Now I've already pre-cut my papers. This is going to go on the bottom here. And then what I did was I took the 4x4 cut aparts from the paper collection, and I chose 4 that I really, really liked. And I cut them down a little bit and backed them on some of the Pearl Sheen White. So again, these measure 3 7/8. I'll put that there. I'm going to have all this down below too, so don't panic. 3 7/8 by 3 7/8, and then I cut these down to, they were 4x4, now they're 3 5/8 by 3 5/8, and backed them. So I just wanted that little glimmer of you know, of the pattern, or the Pearl Sheen paper. So then I'm just going to lay these down like this. Now the other thing you need to do is make sure that this is the outside of the box. When we fold it up, we want the orientation correct. Okay, so let me show you. When this folds up, we're going to want our little saying to show the right direction. Okay, so when you lay them down, make sure that you put them in the right orientation. So I'm going to glue these down, and I'll be right back. The outside is covered, and when I fold my box up, you can see that each side is the correct orientation. And what I loved about this, and why I did it this way for the snowman bottom, because this is a decor piece as well, is that you can change the look of it depending on which side of the box you put, like towards the front, wherever you end up setting it. So it's really kind of cool and versatile. And you can change it during the season, so it's not looking like the same kind of thing, you know, it kind of changes it up. And I thought the cut aparts were perfect for it. So let's talk about the inside here real quick. I've got some pieces here. So again, I cut the squares, they're the same, and dry fit them. Okay, so we're gonna look like this. And then the triangles here. Now when I talked about the triangles, I said cut them at 2 5/8 by 2 5/8, and then just cut them down the diagonal. Okay, and then these will go like so. Okay, so I'm gonna glue those down because you don't need to watch me do that. And then we'll talk about our little photo mats. Pattern papers are on the inside now, really looking super cute. I love this. I love the color scheme of this paper. It's really fun. So then I went through the ephemera pack, and I picked out some little pieces that what I'm going to do is just glue them down to the bottom of each of these panels, just at the edge there, because what we're going to make is a tuck spot. I'm just going to center that. I'm eyeballing it, and just make a tuck spot for a photo mat. Now I took the scraps of the Pearl Sheen White, and they measure 3 1/2 by 3 1/2. I used my corner rounder, and then that'll just kind of tuck behind there. And then I'm going to let it dry though, so it doesn't get stuck. But anyways, it's going to just tuck behind there. And why is that So tight. There we go. So I'm just going to glue it down there, and then that'll tuck right behind there, and that'll be a little photo spot. So I'm just going to go around and do that. And just a little bit of glue. You don't need a whole lot. And I'm putting it right to the bottom, centering it just a hair above the pattern paper. And then we'll have cute little tuck spots. And you could put 2 photos on each of those. So you could put, you know, a 3x3 photo would be perfect. There we go. All right, and last but not least, go. Like so. All right. So then we can do that and tuck those down. All right. Just like so. All right. So that part is done, and that'll fold up and make this really cute bottom of our snowman. Okay, so let's talk about the lid for the snowman. Now, so for the lids, I went and used the Pearl Sheen White because I wanted to kind of simulate maybe some snow or something. So I wanted the sparkle. So the boxes are made out of the regular white, but the lid for the first 2 layers anyway are made out of the Pearl Sheen White. So you will need one piece that's 6.5 by 6.5 for the extra large lid. And if you look on your explosion board and go to the lid chart for the extra large box, you will need paper that's 6.5 by 6.5. And then if you look at your score lines, you have the lid line right here. So you just put it in your scoreboard and score on the lids. All of the lids are scored the same. They're all scored on the lid line. It's the boxes that use these other scores. Okay, so that makes it kind of pretty easy when you're doing boxes. So score all 4 sides. Now, I'm not going to do the diagonal cut on these lids. I like to do the tabs. So what we're going to do is go around and we're going to cut straight up that score line, and then we're going to create a tab. All right, and I'm going to do it pinwheel style, so you just keep turning and cutting. Okay. That way 1 tab will be on each side. It will help a little bit with stability of the lid. And I'm not, because I use this Pearl Sheen White and I wanted the snow kind of feel to it, I'm not putting pattern paper on the outside of this lid. I'm only going to put it on the inside. And there's 2 reasons. First reason is that you can use the inside of the lid to actually put another picture on. And so if you put the pattern paper on there, it'll be nice and pretty. And then the other reason I'm going to cover the inside is because then it covers up the tabs for making the lid. So, but I'm not going to do the outside because I want the kind of shiny looking, almost snowy, icy feel to the paper. And it's shiny, so it's going to be, I think, really pretty. And then we're going to add some lace to it and kind of almost, I don't know, I was thinking kind of mimicking icicles. So that's why I'm going to be using this lace. So score, cut your tabs pinwheel style, so it should look like this, then fold and burnish. And then you're going to use your pattern paper on the inside only. And I'm going to cut the squares at 4 1/8 for the extra large lid. And then you're going to need 4 pieces for the sides that are 4 1/8 by 1. So cover the inside top first. And again, you could throw a picture on here when you're done. And then that's another place for photos. So like for this one, if you didn't put the pull-out tags, you would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you could put 6. So with the tags, you could actually put 1 on each side, and you could still put 1 down there if you wanted to. So it actually will hold a lot of photos. So once you get the first one done, then we're going to build our box, and then we will cover the tabs with some pattern paper here. So building the box, all of the lids are the same. So they're all going to be scored on the lid line. Okay. And the Pearl Sheen, I got to tell you, when I'm making these boxes, it is a little slippery, and you have to be careful that when you put them together, they don't slip apart. So just be, take an extra second to just make sure that, you know, it's not going to slide around on you. That's the only real difference I found with this paper, with the Pearl Sheen, is that it is a little bit slipperier, so it takes just an extra second or two for the art glitter glue to kind of keep it in its spot. And then otherwise it's amazing, and I love the shimmery of it. I've been using a lot of the Pearl Sheen gold natural, the white. I love it. I just love it. All right. Okay, oops, and then make sure you get your tabs inside here on that last part so that you don't accidentally pull everything apart. I do that every time, and in my head I'm thinking don't do that, and I do it every time. So there you go. All right. Okay. So the outside of the lid is going to stay plain. Inside's going to be covered up. So I have my pattern paper here. And, you know, you can decorate this however you want. Use whatever papers you want. I ended up only using 5 sheets of that paper collection, the pattern paper, to make and cover this box. Okay, so pretty economical as far as papers go. So I'll have all that information down below so that you can see it and know about how to cut it and what all you need for this. But it actually, I think it takes more cardstock than it actually does pattern paper to make this project. So, yeah, we're almost done with our lid. And then I will show you how we're going to attach our lace. And then we'll let that sit and dry. Okay. And this is going to be a really nice and sturdy project. And I think you're going to like it. All right. Last piece here. Inside the lid. So again, the lids are all made the same. Now the only exception is the top part of the top hat is a different way to do the boxes, and I will show you that on camera. But the body of our snowman and all the basic lids for the boxes of our body, and you know, the 3 layers are the same. Okay, so there's our lid. So then I'm just going to grab score tape here. And it doesn't really matter which is the front of our box. And I'm going to just start here. It doesn't really matter where you start, but I'm going to start kind of up at the top. And I'm going to wrap score tape around, and that's how I'm going to attach my lace. Okay. And I'm just going to do all the way around. Like so. And then cut that off, put that to the side, and then go around on the inside and then just burnish it down so it's nice and stuck to the outside of our lid. Okay. Then I'm going to find where I started. And I'm going to grab my lace and I'm just going to wrap that around. So I'm going to start here and stick that down. I might trim that off just a little bit. And don't worry about that edge yet because I'm going to fix that. And then I'm just going to wrap my lace around and make sure that's nice and stuck. Now, if I'm in a climate where this is going to stay really well, if you're not, you could use glue as well, but I'm just going to use the score tape for this. And in my prototype, I used it and it worked out just great. All right, so I'm going to bring that all the way around, and then I'm going to cut that lace where it joins. Okay, right even where it joins. All right, just like that. And then in my embellishment kit, we had these cute little snowflakes. So I'm going to take my snowflake and I'm going to put it over that join. We're going to glue that down. That's going to help keep the edges down. Whoop. And if I can get it on there, like so. And then that is going to sit right there in the front. Okay? So I'm going to grab a clamp. Let me grab one of my clamps here. I found these at the dollar store too. I've been using these little ones for things, but they had some big ones too one time, and I did grab a couple of those. So I'm just gonna clamp that down, let it dry, and then we've got our extra large box and our extra large lid, and it's ready to go. Okay, so we're just gonna let that sit, put this to the side. We're gonna make the next layer, which is gonna be, this is the very bottom, so we're gonna make the middle part of our snowman now. Okay, so since everything was done the same, just different sizes, what I did was, to save some camera time, I went ahead and made some things, and then we're going to talk about how to embellish them. Okay, so this is the next layer up is the extra large box. This starts with a cardstock piece that's 11 by 11. I used Artisan white, and then the pattern paper squares are 3 5/8 by 3 5/8. Okay, again, dry fit them. Make sure you don't have to cut off like a 1/16 of an inch to make everything fit really well. Just double check that, because if you don't get the scoring quite right with the scoreboard, you know, you might need to do that. Okay, nobody will ever know that you have it a 1/16 of an inch off on one side. For the triangles, the squares are 2 3/8 by 2 3/8, and cut them at that diagonal, and then that will cover your corners. Okay, so I covered the inside and the outside on this particular box. Okay, so this is the box that's going to have our little buttons for, you know, like his shirt. So we're going to pick whichever way we decide we want the, you know, the front to be, and then we're going to add our buttons. And I think, doesn't really matter, but I think we're going to add our buttons here. Again, these came from that embellishment kit that I have. So we're just going to glue those down there, making sure that we leave enough room for the lid. So we're not going to do that quite yet. We want to make sure. And then for the lid, so again, I used Pearl Sheen White for the lid because I wanted the shiny on the outside, and this required a piece that was I got glue on my fingers, 6 1/4 by 6 1/4, and then I just put it in my scoreboard and scored on the lid, and that's all I did. Okay, so for this one, this was an extra large box, I scored on the extra large line. Okay, 11 by 11 for the box, score on the extra large line. For the lid, it's 6 1/4 by 6 1/4, score on the lid line. Okay, so just the same process, And then the pattern paper for the inside, for this, the bottom was 3 7/8 by 3 7/8, and then the pattern paper on the inside, 3 7/8 by 1. And again, this is all going to be in the description, so don't you know, get too panicky with trying to write this down right now. You can copy and paste and do all that stuff and print it out, and then when you make the project, then you can have the list right there. Okay, so for the outside, we're going to do the buttons. We'll do that in a minute. So for the inside, what I decided to do with this one was to leave these open. Okay, so you could put a picture directly on there, and then to put a little photo mat opportunity in the bottom. So I just picked this piece of ephemera that's Cold Hands, Warm Heart, and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the corners, so it's only glued on 2 sides. And then we're going to put this in the very bottom corner of our bottom of our box, okay? And then our little photo mat will tuck right underneath there. And I just use a scrap of the white that I had left over. And this scrap is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. So again, a 3 by 3 picture would fit perfect right there. So you could do the same thing with all of these that we did on the other box. We could totally do that. Okay. But I chose not to. I wanted to kind of make it a little bit different. Okay. So this is the extra, extra large, or excuse me. Okay. So this is the extra large box, which is the second box up. Okay. Fold up like this, go like this. Okay. So then what we need to do is we're going to put our buttons. So we need to make sure, and what you can do is fold your box up, decide which you want to be your front. Okay. So the lid's going to go down this far. So we have to make sure that our buttons don't go in that area. Okay. And then we're going to line up our buttons and we'll glue. Okay. So I think that if I go right to that line right there, I think that would be good. Okay. So right above the way I cut my pattern paper. So you can line it up any way you want. Just check your fit, check where you want it. And then we'll go ahead and open it up, and then we'll go ahead and glue our buttons down and then let them dry. Okay. So right in the center, I just love that all these buttons, they're like the same color scheme, but they're all a little different. So it's a lot of, you know, variety with them. I just think it's cool. Love it. I love it. When I saw that, I was like, I have to have that for this kit. I just have to. And it's going to work for a lot of different things. And if you guys are into shakers, this is like the perfect kit. All right. So our buttons are going to dry. So I'm going to stick this off to the side. And then grab our lid. We're going to do the same thing with the lace for this lid, except for we're going to put the snowflake over here. So again, I'm going to grab my score tape and I'm just going to offset it just a little bit on the other side and run it around again. Okay. And I usually rip it, but I can't lay it down and rip it. So that's why I'm cutting it. And I probably should have used my other scissors to do that. But yeah, these ones aren't, you know, like non-stick. All right. So I'm just burnishing it down from the inside because it's a heck of a lot easier to do that. All right. And then grab your lace again. So the same piece of lace that came off the card. And then we're going to start on that side and we're going to burnish that down a little bit. And again, you can use glue for this if you want. You can go back and put glue over it. Art glitter glue does dry. You can use, what do you call it? Oh my gosh, what is it called? This stuff, fray check. You could do that if you want to. That would actually work. But like again, though, if you're in a climate where you're going to have a problem with it, you might have to use the glue. I don't have that problem here. We don't have a lot of humidity and all that. Okay. So I just want to make sure my lace sticks. Okay, there we go. Okay, then we grab our other little snowflake, and I'm going to put that guy right there. So I'm going to add my glue, and my snowflake on there. Grab another clip. Okay, and then just clamp that down and let that dry. Okay, so our lid for our second layer is done. Okay, so now let's do our snowman's head. All right, so we're going to have a couple things to do here. And again, this is all done, you know, the same way, just some different sizes. So I'm going to talk you through this. Let me get my pieces kind of organized here. Okay, so this box, which is going to be his head, is the large box. So you will take a 10 by 10 piece of cardstock, white Artisan, and you'll put it in here, and you'll see the large lid 10 by 10 score on the large lid line right here. Okay, and the pattern paper sizes that you need, the squares are 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. The triangles are 2 1/4 by 2 1/4 cut at the diagonal. Okay, so then you'll cover the inside. We are not covering the outside at all because it's going to be his head. So we're going to put a face on here instead. So I left his head completely blank on the outside. Okay, now for the lid, because he needs a hat, that's why I use the black for his hat, for his lid. So you're going to get a black piece of cardstock, and this is going to be for the large lid. So this piece is 5 7/8 by 5 7/8. So again, the large lid, 5 7/8 by 5 7/8, and you're going to score it on the lid line. Okay, all the lids are scored on the lid line. All right, so I left that blank on the outside because I want it to be his top hat, so that's why I wanted it black. And then, but I did cover the inside because you could want to put a picture on the inside. So I did use some of the paper and do that. Okay, so again, don't cover the outside because that's where his face is going to go, and then do cover the inside. Now on the inside here, I chose some more little pieces from the ephemera pack, and I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the other one, except for what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue them in the corners and then have the little, you know, tucks go down. Does that make sense? Not in the center, but like in the corner. So I'm going to glue them on 2 sides. This one says, "Let it snow." Okay, so I'm just going to go around and do that. And then these are out of the scraps of the white that I had left over, 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. And then you, obviously I did use my corner rounder on the edges. You don't have to if you don't want to. But I'm just going to go around and put those there. And that will be more photo opportunities. So this is a little different than the first one that I did, you know, because I had it in the center. But this one will be more in the corner. Okay, and then you take your little tags and you can just tuck them in there, and then you could put 2 pictures on each tag. You could also put a picture behind the tag if you wanted to. Okay, so that part is done. All right, so now that that's done, let's work on his little face. So I'm gonna flip it over, and we're gonna choose which side his face is gonna be. And again, you really need to make sure you don't put anything below his hat. So go ahead and put his hat on. All right, and then grab a pencil and then just really lightly just kind of put a little line so you know not to put anything above that line. Okay, and then I'm going to, you can fold it like this because we burnished it. Here is where all these little pieces come in. So I picked out, not this guy, but I picked out some buttons, and I put some of the little flat back pearls on them to make his eyes. And then I picked out 6 of the, or excuse me, 7, or no, 6 more for his little smile. And then I did have a little orange flat back that I'm going to use for his nose, and that was from my stash. So you could use a button, you could use an enamel dot, you could do all that stuff. So I'm going to lay this out, and then I'm going to glue this down when I'm happy with how it's laying out, and it's not going to stay. So let's do it this way. Okay, and then when you're happy with the placement, just glue that down. Okay, so I'm going to work on that, and I will be right back. So my snowman's face is on, and I've erased my line, so that's not there anymore. And then the next thing we need to do is do our scarf. Now I took some scraps of the paper that I had left over to make the scarf. So there's a couple different things we're going to do. So one thing I need to let you know right now. So, and I probably should have said this before we made this box, but if you want to make this box an actual box, okay, meaning that you make tabs like you did the lid and then just glue it all down so it is a box and it doesn't open up. You can just wrap a piece of lace or ribbon or something completely around the box and make a scarf that way. If you're going to do an explosion type album like this, then this is how we're going to make our snowman scarf. So I took strips that are 1/4 of an inch by, let me double check this because I didn't write that down. 3 3/8, okay? And that will go right across the bottom of our box. And this is going to simulate our snowman's scarf, okay? So we're going to do that on all 4 sides. And then I'll show you how to make the actual scarf piece that hangs over. So we're just going to put that right, seriously, right at the bottom. You may have to trim a little bit off. It's probably better to cut it a little too long and then have to trim it than trim it too short, okay? So it's only going to go on the sides. It's not going to go in the diagonal because when you close the box, it's not going to show, okay? So a little bit of glue. And I thought this plaid paper kind of really resembled a scarf, so I thought this was really cool. Okay, glue that down. Make sure we don't have an overhang. Okay. Okay. All right, one more. And I thought that when I made this, I thought my grandkids would really like it because it is cute. And then it has all the fun interaction in the middle of it. And I thought my grandkids would love this. Okay, so when you fold up your box, got your album on the inside, and then you got your little snowman. He's got his little scarf wrapped around his neck. So super cute, right? All right, so then his little hat goes on like that, and we're good to go. Now, he's going to rest on top of the last layer's hat that we made, right? So his little head's going to rest here. Now, I'm not going to glue that down. Now, that being said, if you didn't want to be able to, you know, nest these in each other and just, you know, have it, I guess, sturdy or steady or whatever, you could glue this onto the top of the lids if you wanted to. I wanted the option to be able to tear it apart and break it down into a small box so that I could store it and then open it up, okay? So he's going to sit here. And his little scarf is going to be hanging. I'm going to hang it off to the side, okay? So I grabbed some more strips of those papers, and I'm just going to glue the tops at a little bit of an angle, okay? So like the scarf is wrapping around you, and then you have, you know, the ends hanging off, okay? And then I took another little strip. We're going to glue that to the top. Right at the top, and then I'm just going to fold it over and then trim it and glue it down. Okay, so that's going to hold that kind of steady. So if I fold that over, let me trim that off a little bit. So again, these are 1/4 of an inch wide. Okay. And then fold that guy over. We'll trim that and glue that. like so. Okay. Make sure that all the edges are trimmed. Okay. So you have a piece that looks like this. So it looks like the knot of your scarf and then your two ends hanging down, okay? And then what we're gonna do is I actually glued it just to the top of the lid, because then when you put your snowman head on there, it'll sit right up against that and it'll be just absolutely like perfect placement, okay? So just going to do that. Now before I do that, I'm going to just kind of finger curl my scarf, and you can leave this as long as you want. I think it's pretty long, so I'm going to go ahead and cut some of it off. And then you can go in and like you can fringe it a little bit. Just put a couple little slits in there. Probably 3 is plenty for a 1/4 of an inch strip. And again, if you decided to make this into a box, you could just use ribbon or something and just tie around and then knot it yourself, okay? So just put your, kind of center it. I centered it on here, figured out where I'm going to place that, and it's going to be right at the corner where the head joins. I hope you can see that, okay? So I'm just centering my box, my snowman head, and I'm just going to put it right there. And the 1/4 of an inch is just about perfect for the placement here. So I'm just going to put some glue on there and glue it down to the edge. All right. And that's about where I want my snowman head. Yeah, so right about there. I'm just going to glue that down. And then when you set the head on the box, and then again, make sure the front of the box here, when you set the head on there, then it'll butt right up against there and be absolutely perfect. And then I'm just gonna fold that a little more, or curl it a little more, I should say. All right, and then the snowman head will sit right on there. And then when you nest all these together, that will just tuck down and be just perfect, okay? So, head's done. Now we gotta do the top hat. Now this is where it's gonna be a little bit different. So I'm gonna do a different new technique on how to make this box because it is so small, and I want to put pattern paper on the inside because this is actually gonna be a gift box. Okay, so the top of the head, or top of the hat, excuse me, the top hat is going to be actually a little gift box. So you could put, you know, candies in there if you're giving them to your grandkids or whatever. You can put some candy in there, you know, little toys, you know, jewelry for someone, whatever, just a nice little, small little, pretty little gift, okay? So the first one, there's 2 sizes that you're gonna need. Black, one at 7 by 7, one at 6 7/8 by 6 7/8. And then the pattern paper squares for all of them, I just kept it super simple, 2 1/8 by 2 1/8 for the pattern papers, okay? So you're going to take each of these. This is actually the extra small box size, okay? So when you put them in your scoreboard, I should take that off first. Both pieces, even though they're different sizes, okay? So this is the new thing that we're doing. So we're making the extra small box 7 by 7, okay? But we're going to do one at 7 by 7, one at 6 7/8 by 6 7/8. You're going to see why in a minute. Score both of them exactly the same. Score both of them on the extra small line, all 4 sides, okay? And then, let's see. So one will be a little bit bigger, one will be a little bit smaller, but you're going to score them the same, okay? So then what we're going to do is I'm going to cut the tabs like I would to make an actual box. I'm going to do that, and then I will be right back. All right, so I have made the tabs for both of the pieces. So this one is the 7 by 7. This one is the 6 7/8 by 6 7/8. Okay, it is a little bit smaller, but we're going to score them exactly the same on the extra small score line, okay? Create our tabs, and then we're going to fold and burnish, all right? And then what we're gonna do, I want to cover the inside of this box, and because this box is so small, and it is a little harder to get the pattern papers in there, and because it's black and it's really hard to see, to put the glue on the tabs and do all that stuff, I came up with an idea. Okay, and I tried it and it worked. So we're going to try it on camera again and see if it still works. Okay, so all of the pattern paper squares are the same, 2 1/8 by 2 1/8, and you can put them down any way you want. I'm going to keep it simple, and on the bigger one I'm going to use the darker color. On the smaller one I'm going to use the lighter color, because then that way when the present's going to be in the smaller one, it'll be a little easier to see with the lighter color. So let's make sure that I got the right one, because that would make me crazy. Okay, so this is the smaller one. We're going to put the lighter color on the smaller one. Here is the bigger one. Okay, so make sure I'm going to do that, because then you can see in the box. So, all right, so fold and burnish all your lines. Okay, then what we're going to do is on the inside of your box only. We're not going to cover the outside of the box. Inside of your box only. Let's put the one in the middle, down at the bottom. And again, these were cut from scraps left over from the rest of the project. So I only used 5 pieces of pattern paper for this, and 1 sheet of cut aparts to make the outside body of our snowman. Okay, so when we fold this up, it's going to go like this, and this is the bigger box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach these to the tabs first, okay? And then glue the whole thing inside. That way I only have to glue once, and I don't have to try and stick pattern papers in there, and it's going to be a lot easier. So I'm going to show you how to do it with this one. All right. Well, I shouldn't have done that. Okay. So I'm showing you what not to do. So don't put the glue on your pattern paper, okay? Because the tabs are cut at an angle. That's why you don't want to do that. So we want to just put some glue on the tab, just enough to get the pattern paper stuck to it, okay? Because it's at an angle. And I wrote that in my notes to make sure I told you guys, and I totally didn't do it, okay? So you want to do that, okay? And we're going to center it, okay? So it's going to go a little bit past the edge. It's going to go, there's going to be a little edge of black here. That's what you want. So when you fold this up, it actually covers the side of the box, and it looks like you did it in 2 different steps, okay? So that's what we're going to do. And this is going to make it a lot easier to cover the inside of this teeny tiny small box. I think it's teeny tiny anyway. All right, so don't go right to the edges yet, okay? And I'm just going to kind of put that little bit edge here, little more edge here, okay? And then just make sure you don't have glue on the outsides yet, because we don't want glue on the outsides yet, okay? And this actually did work amazing. Amazing. All right. Oh, and I did it again. My gosh, you guys. I know you guys are screaming at me too, aren't you? You were screaming at me. Don't do it, Michelle. You're doing it wrong. Okay. On the tab. Maybe for the next one I'll get it right. What do you think? Okay. All right. All right. A little bit of an edge over here. A little more of an edge over here, because that'll even it out when we fold it up. Okay, so dry fit it too, so you can kind of get the feel of where you need to put your papers. I did it again. Oh my gosh. Can you tell I haven't had much sleep lately? Or I should say I haven't had consistent sleep lately. Okay, one more time. Do the tab first. My gosh. I'm a mess today. Okay. All right. There we go. All right. Okay. So we have our little tabs covered with our pattern paper, and you can see that they are tabs because you can see the pattern paper going over the edge. Okay. So then what we're going to do is just glue it down just like this, and then we are totally covered and everything, and we are like, it's done. So we're going to put pattern or glue on our pattern paper, so those little pieces that are sticking out, okay, in this whole tab. And then we're going to fold them up and glue them down. And we're not doing any pattern paper on the outside because this is black and this is the top of his hat. Okay. And look at that. We're patterned and ready to go. So, do it again. This is a lot easier than doing the tabs and then going back and trying to get all this little pattern paper in there. When I saw that, when I figured this out, I was like, oh, this is like the coolest aha moment I've had in a little while, I think. And it works great. So just remember to dry fit your paper just to make sure you got the placement, you know, kind of right. And that one I got a little bit crooked, but that's okay. Make sure you tuck that one in first. There we go. Okay, and this is the fiddly one because you have to fold that down and then get your glue in there. But it can be done. And I'm kind of holding it at a weird angle so I can see it because it is black. I mean, that does not help. Sometimes, especially, I mean, even on camera, off camera, sometimes it's hard to work with. So that's the other reason why I decided to try this. When I got this idea, I was like, I could make it a lot easier than trying to look in a black box to put pattern paper down. Okay, so we have our inside patterned already in one fell swoop. So that's pretty cool, I think. Okay, so that's the top of our box because that was the bigger 7x7 piece. Okay, so then let's I'm going to go ahead and do this one. Now, the one thing you have to remember with the 6x7 or 6 and 7/8 by 6 and 7/8 is that when you fold these tabs over, you'll notice that they are going to hang over a little bit because we actually made kind of a smaller diameter box. So you're going to need to go through and whack off a little bit of the tabs. Okay, so, you know, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, whatever you want to do. But just enough to where, you know, you can fold everything on the inside. So this is on the 6 and 7/8 by 6 and 7/8 side. After you make your tabs, just take a wee bit off, 1/4 inch or so, and that will help the tabs to fit inside, you know, the sides of the box. I got glue everywhere. Okay, so I'm going to add my pattern paper again. This is going to be the bottom of the box. It is the smaller one. And okay, so pattern paper to the tabs. Okay, so I put glue on our tab here. Now you won't have the black edge showing on the other side, so just kind of line it up. If it helps to put it on a grid so that you can kind of see that you're keeping it straight, that will work too. Okay, like that. So glue on the tab, kind of all in one, wrap it up at the same time. Now you don't have to even do this if you don't want to. You don't have to put, you know, pattern paper in here if you don't want. It's totally up to you if you want it to be a gift box or if you just want it, you know, to be, why can't I get that one straight? Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is completely up to you. I chose to do it because of the fact that I wanted to demonstrate that it could be a gift box. Okay, so I'm just going to line it up, eyeball it, line it up, like so. Okay, one more. And did you notice? Probably thought I thought about it, but I put them all on the tabs first. I knew I'd get it right the second time, right? All right. Okay. See, I'm here to teach you what to do and what not to do, right? Learn from my boo-boos. Okay, so tabs are covered, and then all we have to do is glue them down. I'm going to put pattern or glue on the pattern paper because that's going to glue down to the inside of the box. So make sure you get the back of that pattern paper. Line up your sides. I just love this trick. This is a great trick, especially for these little boxes. My gosh. Okay, make sure that other one's tucked under too. Okay. All right. And then this folds down here. All right. There we go. All right. So we're good to go on that. All right. We did it. So now in one fell swoop, really, with making this box, we've made it and papered it at the same time. So I just think that was a cool, nifty little easy trick than trying to get the paper in after the fact. Okay, so bottom of the box, top of the box fits right over, and voila, you have a gift box that also becomes our top hat. So let's grab the rest of the pieces and I will show you them all together. All right, y'all. Here it is. We are done with our snowman projects. We've got our extra, extra large box. We've got our tags that we can put photos on there. You could even, you know, do journaling in there. So this guy folds up. All right. And we put the lid on. And this one is built so that the 4x4 squares you can put as the front. You can change it. Doesn't really matter. And you know, becomes a decor piece. This kind of goes over the top, all right? Just like that, okay? So then, let's go ahead and turn it like this. All right, so let's put Snow Fun with the hot chocolate on the front, okay? So we got our little snowman on the front. So this is layer number 1. Layer number 2, we have our pull-out tag here, and the rest we left plain. This one folds up. This is the body of our snowman, and the lid has the rest of our scarf. So that guy goes like this. And then we have our snowman head. So it will look like this. And then we have our top hat, which is the gift box, or it could be one of the gift boxes. You can make this into 4 gift boxes if you wanted to. So there is that. Now, the last thing that I need to do is on the gift box, okay, on the top hat here, I took out of the embellishment kit some of the silver cord and one of the snowflakes and a button, and I tied the silver cord through the button and then glued it all together and let it dry. I used some fray check on the ends of this, and we're just going to put this on the snowman's hat, and that is going to be like his little hat decoration. So I'm just going to put some glue here, and that is going to be his little hat decoration, okay? So let me show you. I probably should have done that earlier, but that's okay. So this is our completed project. I hope you like it. I think it's absolutely adorable. My prototype that I did, I had some papers in my stash that were in like pinks and teals and stuff. And it was a snow theme as well. It wasn't really Christmassy, but it was a snow theme. And it turned out really super cute. And I was super excited to do this one. So then here is the cool part of this whole project. Okay. So this nests in each other. Okay. So top hat fits into the head. Okay. Put the hat on. And then this guy fits into the next layer. Okay. Close that up. And then this guy fits into our bottom layer. Come on now. And you have it all packed up and ready to store and save for next year when you want to bring it out. Okay, so that's my project. I hope you enjoyed it. There is a bonus piece to this. So when we were talking about the top hat, the top hat, we used two different sizes. We used the 7 by 7, okay, because it was the extra small box. And then we cut a piece that was an 1/8 inch smaller, so 6 7/8 by 6 7/8. Okay, that's how we made our, let me dig it out here, our little gift box. Okay, so the extra bonus to this tutorial is a second tutorial, because I used this to create a gift box. Okay, they're the same height, but the bottom box, when we cut the 1/8 inch off of the sides, makes it a little bit smaller so it fits inside. So you have another option with this explosion board on making gift boxes. Okay, so if you want to make more gift boxes in the bigger sizes, for example, you want to make an extra large gift box, the outer piece would be 12 by 12, the inner piece would be 11 7/8 by 11 7/8. Do the same thing and you'll end up with like a 4 by 4 by 4 gift box, and it will completely close in on itself. Okay, so there's the bonus. So if I'm going to put all the measurements here for kind of the bonus gift box tutorial that kind of goes with this tutorial. So I'll put the list of the measurements for these boxes, but you'll have 7 different box dimensions that you will be able to make, and using this particular method, and you will have, you know, an extra style of gift box that you can make, rather than, you know, making one size and then having like a lid. You'll have kind of the sleeve that goes over it. So I just thought that was kind of a cool added bonus to this tutorial. So that's what I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. I think this turned out really cute. I really liked it, and I hope you did too. So visit Country Craft Creations at countrycraftcreations.com and check out this paper collection, because it is really super cute. And go ahead and make your own snowman. Make your own snowman decor piece. Your kids will love it. I'll see you later. Have fun. And I'll be back soon with another tutorial. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.